Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
Thanks to TriBooth, the best vocal booth for home or on-the-road voice recording. And Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Introducing Robert Marshall from Source Elements and Someone Audio Post, Chicago. Darren Robbo Robertson from Voodoo Radio Imaging, Sydney. Tech to the VO Stars, George the Tech Whittam from LA. And me, Andrew Peters, voiceover talent and home studio guy.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite, thanks to TriBooth. Don't forget the code PAP200 to get $200 off. And Austrian Audio, making passion heard. This week, we're talking about shock mounts and things that claim to be shock mounts that probably aren't. I don't know where we should start, but it was something
shocking mount.
Yeah, it was you that brought this up when we were talking privately about a week ago.
Yeah, actually, do remind me, who makes this thing? What's the I just remember seeing it and going like, what the fuck? But
What's this
Is there
thing?
litigation involved in this if we name the company?
oh gosh, I guess we shouldn't.
No.
Well, if we're going to
You're allowed to review
slander
stuff?
it, then we shouldn't. If we're going to talk about it, sort of more objectively, then I'm happy to mention him. But
Oh, this is completely objective.
okay.
Okay.
I objectively
Perfect.
don't get it.
There's no point talking about it
Yeah.
if we can't mention what it is, let's be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, I can tell you now. It is the enhanced audio, and it's the M600 shock mount. Now, we looked at it because Robert brought it up. He said, have a look online. I Googled it and saw one for sale on eBay.
No, it was on
the one-
Reverb, and I had to find that.
Oh,
because
Reverb, that's right,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I couldn't find it anywhere because, well, I don't know. Like, there's only one
believe-
used one.
Yeah, I don't have a strong impression they're in business.
I think
in
you could be right.
The copyright at the bottom of the page, enhanced audio products are proudly designed and manufactured in Ireland. Copyright 2014
Yep.
could be part of that assumption that they are
But
no
if-
longer in
Are
production.
we talking about a product that's got like aluminium circles and then
It's a hoop.
screws that hold
Yeah.
the mic?
Yep.
So where's the shock mount in that?
It's either a finger. Yeah, there you go. This is designed to transmit every shock
Yeah.
into your mic. I mean, the only thing they could have done is put the screws directly on the diaphragm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it going, look at the, I know there's technical data on the site somewhere that explains
Yeah,
how
I
it
can
works.
read. I can read all the all the information that.
Because
that
you've seen
he's
one,
put
haven't you,
on there.
George?
I've not only seen one, I met the owner. He came to the States. I spoke to him in person. I got products to actually try to sell at one point, I think. Back when I thought I was going to actually be a retailer, which lasted less than a year. That was a really bad idea. And
Oh, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time, yeah.
yeah, and I had several products. I believe one of them ended up the stand called the Revelator. Interestingly enough, not to be confused with the Revelator IO24 interface I used to record the show, but the Revelator stand and the mic mount I had donated to the SAG Foundation Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab. So if you ever are in the States and in Los Angeles and you want to see one, they have one probably in the storage room of the lab. But I have a couple of clients that have the M600, and yeah, it's in an
Is the M600 the shock mount itself?
that's the mount.
Yeah.
Sorry, the mount.
Yeah, it's I'll read this very briefly. The enhanced audio M600's unique design and the fact that it is not a suspension mount, its weight and method of rigidly clamping the microphone body within 6 minimum points of contact contributes to the following. 1, the reduced movement of the microphone in the X, Y, and Z axis, a reduction of resonance within the microphone body itself, and the reduction of infrasonic vibrations below 20 hertz, which negatively dominate and mask low, mid, and high frequencies, allowing the microphone to capture the sound wave clearly, producing a more detailed recording. That's the end.
Okay,
that's the
Can I give you
infrasonic?
Infrasonic are sound waves below the range of human hearing, below 20 hertz is infrasonics.
Well, Sound on Sound magazine were a little more diplomatic because they've said a range of impressive sonic claims are made for the unusual design, but the physics behind it remain unclear to me at least. Certainly mics are held very securely and such that they cannot vibrate along any one particular axis. However, knowing the mic stand reveals that large amplitude vibrations are not suppressed at all. Having said that, when testing them out with a range of capacitor mics, I perceived a change to the lower mid-range, which often sounded slightly clearer and more detailed.
So it's not really a shock mount, is it?
It's not a shock mount.
No, I don't think
here's
it's meant
my
to be a
theory of
shock
how
mount.
it's a useful product. Okay, if you own an anechoic chamber, it is
Yes,
completely freaking isolated from everything, and then this shock mount is holding your microphone such that you can blast it with the most impressive amount of energy. Like, you can just hit it with a big sound wave and it won't move. And you will get that full sound wave, every bit of it. It's not like, the shock mount might give in to the sound and therefore you're not getting the full attack. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying.
Absolutely.
And interestingly here, the only two pros.
Only James Earl Jones could make a sound that would be
that's
going to
make any difference. There's two pros that Sound on Sound have given, and one of them is nicely engineered and suits virtually any mic.
But the only thing I can see that where it would be good, that's the Revelator with the mic stand and the mount.
And the speaker
would
stand.
be if you were doing, speaker stand, or also if you're doing like big orchestral stuff in a big sound stage.
In an anechoic chamber.
In an anechoic chamber.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that is it actually called a shock mount? I don't think they call it a shock mount.
I think they do admit at least that.
It's called a universal microphone mount is what they've called it.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no claim that it's a shock mount because it's not.
So, this website looks the same as the last time I saw it many, many, many years ago. And why the site is still up, but the links that are for purchasing, for example, there's a button that says purchase online. It's broken. And then there's a button that says testimonials, customer comments, and voiceover artists. It's broken. For whatever reason, the site seems to live on. I would call it a zombie website.
Yeah.
So tell me this, how many do you think they sold?
Not enough.
To keep the site up, right?
Well,
Clearly.
enough to, get some out in the world and okay, let's put it this way. Here's my opinion. They were in production long enough to have their intellectual property stolen by Rycote. Rycote integrated into the Lyre shock mount system, and now they've basically completely killed any marketability of the enhanced audio. Because what they did was Rycote said, fine, we'll take the fingertip method and we'll just integrate that into our own shock mount system called the Lyre, which is a great design. And it's completely killed and buried the sellability of this product. It's a third the price, the Rycote Envision shock mount.
Wait, but the Rycote is a shock mount? They've put it in a suspension?
Yeah.
So all they've taken from it is the method of grabbing it by 6 points.
Yeah.
The little clampy bit.
Fingers,
3 points, because they only use one ring. And then it's basically a Christmas tree stand for a mic. Everybody has fiddled with the three.
That doesn't
threaded,
seem like that much of an invention.
Everybody's fiddled with those little 3 damn threaded things trying to hold their tree up, right? It's the same concept now with a mic. And then Rycote has that same design concept, but mounted to suspension, which they call the Lyre suspension, which is awesome because those damn things aren't made of elastic. So you don't have to freaking replace the elastic bands every 5 years. I can't tell you how many times I've seen pictures of TLM 103s and U87s hanging perilously from these little stretched out, dry rotted straps.
Well, I got to tell you,
so bad.
I just had to order some new ones for mine, and it cost me $50 for 2 elastic bands.
I know. It's ridiculous.
That's so funny. Do you know what I did with my KSM 44? I got this wonderful shock mount with a knot tied in it and a little extra loop.
Oh, I've done that many times.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how many times I've gone to a client's house and tied knots and rerouted the elastic in an innovative way so the mic doesn't, sag and fall out of the mount. Anybody that uses the same hairband, it's a rubber band wrapped in fabric is all it is. and they just stretch out. They're ridiculous.
My daughter buys packets of 20 of them from the beauty shop for like $2.
Hair ties.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
I've got to
So-
pay 50 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Landfill.
if you're some sort of Neumann purist and you have to have that because that's fine. But I really feel like the Envision mount from Rycote is the way to go. It does fit almost
That's all
every
I've got.
mic.
Yep. That's
And-
all I have. I
yeah.
get rid of the factory ones, the ones that come with the mic. Just don't use them.
Yeah.
Because the Rycote ones, in fact, here you go. There's an experiment, just so you know. Like if I tap on, I'm using, on the shock mount, I'm using the mic cable hook that's part of the shock mount.
Yeah. So the
if
cable
I
comes
tap,
out of the mic and then it hooks under a little hook that's attached to the mount, the purpose of which is to damp the vibration that would be
to
transmitted
isolate
from
the
the
cable.
mic cable
Yeah.
to the mic. And so, yes. Yeah,
That's a good idea.
So here we go. This is on the side of the microphone. I'll tap the wire, the cable.
right.
So you can all hear that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Same pressure on the other side.
Yeah, big difference, right?
So you're just
Could you
tapping
hear
on
it?
the other side of where the hook is.
Yeah, the cable, which is part of the mic stand. It's actually a boom stand as well, a boom
Right.
mic stand that's hanging
And the
off
hook is attached
desk.
to the rigid part that's attached to the arm, and the mic is in the suspension part that is
Correct.
suspended in
Yeah.
the lyre.
But it just seems to isolate the cable from
Yeah.
tapping. So,
It's a really good design. I mean, all I can hope is that the guy from Enhanced Audio was great. I really liked the guy. He had a really interesting idea. I don't know if he ever got any money from Rycote, but it definitely put him out of business, I think, because the Rycote design is superior. It's more practical. It's far, far less expensive, and it works.
I don't think he had a practical product in terms of, if anybody, he was solving a problem that no one has.
It's solving a problem that no one could hear unless they literally had a measurement.
It's
like an
it's like
anechoic
buy
chamber.
this for your next trip to the moon.
Right.
It's very useful
Yeah.
when you go to the moon.
Yeah. I know. I agree. And that was the thing. He came to me, and I don't remember why at the time or how he found me, but he thought I could be an advocate for the product. And I think what he didn't realize is that I'm actually into really practical solutions, not, what I would dare call an audiophile product. I call this an audiophile product.
This is audiophile for the pro audio market.
Right. And some pro audio engineers and people are a little bit buy into it. And I'd say the majority don't buy into audiophile, lore.
I'd be willing to bet that this could have been marketed better as a mic mount for a kick drum mic.
Okay.
Because there's your instrument that's just got a huge amount, like you put it in the right place and there's a lot of air coming out of that thing.
Yeah.
And I bet you a kick drum mic on a big enough mic could actually pick up enough wind to move in its shock mount. So you don't want to, but I'm pretty sure that if you compare that to the sonics of just like using the AKG hard mount that comes with your kick drum microphone, maybe the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think his market was actually the stands because they look so cool.
Now the stands, yeah.
I mean,
the
you have to
stands
have one of those.
have more use cases. Of course, they can double as a speaker stand. They're really easy to adjust the height. And they look damn cool, and they're really, really beefy. They were heavy.
But I'm looking at the stand, the Revelator Alpha, which is the taller one. Get rid of the mount he's got, put on a Rycote mount at the end. It looks like it's really well weighted.
Yeah.
So if you've got a really heavy mic, like my Gefell, the tube mic, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And I've walked into the booth when I used to have that thing hung, set up in the booth and find the thing almost touching the ground because the whole thing's just like too heavy for the mic stand.
Stay tuned for part 2 where we talk about mic stands.
Oh yeah,
Because there's a whole nother rat hole we can go down talking about mic stands.
Well, let's do that next
And
week.
things to clamp
In the
onto
theme
things.
of shock mounts and things that companies found George Whittam to test out and talk about line, there's a company here in LA run by a guy named Mike Frenchick, and he makes the thing he's most famous for at this point would be that double and triple screen half circle pop screen that can slip over the tip of your 41.6. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
The little half moon kind of like folded
Yeah.
over thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
So-
that one's a clever design.
Yeah. So that guy does some interesting stuff, right? So that shock mount pop screen was not a generation 1 product. His first generation product, actually, I have the beta of it, and it didn't work. I mean, actually, it did stop plosives, but it also changed the sound of the mic. Yeah, the design he had before had these plastic concentric rings that went around the mic, and it slid over the tube of the mic, and those created,
the interface.
it interfered with the interference tube, and when I tried it, I was like, wow, it really does change the sound of the mic. If you actually look hard enough on YouTube, you might find a video where I actually demonstrate it real time and explain why it doesn't work. Anyway, the same guy also developed his own shock mount technology. But what he does, instead of having this giant spider web thing or this big bulky product that, has goes around the mic, what he did was use elastomers and create a little shock absorber that looks like, a disc in your spine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then it has a female thread on one side and a male thread on the other side. And that's it. It's like the size of a silver dollar, or maybe it's 1.5 inches across. And I have a beta version one in my hands. And the nice thing about it is it's really, really, really low profile, right? And it attaches to literally any microphone. It's just a normal 5/8 thread. And then you can have any mic clip you want. You don't have to use anything fancy. You can use the clip that came with your 41.6 or whatever, and then the mic hangs from this. And it's a proven product. It actually does. He's actually been able to do measurements and show how effective it actually is. And it's a nice design. It's also not cheap. I think it's in the $50 to $60 range to get one of these. So
yeah.
But basically, it's a shock mount for whatever you attach to that mic stand at that point.
Exactly.
Well, in that case, I think we should just go down further and put the shock mount on the base of the stand.
Well, you could if you have a stand, but I have an arm on my desk, so I don't want the vibration from my desk.
That's true. No, I'm just joking anyways.
Yeah. No one laughed, Robert.
I know. My jokes aren't that funny. I don't know why you keep on having me come back.
So it's the same concept as the way we design studios with isolation clips to keep the vibration from transmitting through the studs, joists, and then to the drywall. It's the same idea. And I always use the analogy when I'm explaining this concept to a client, I'm trying to explain how this whole thing works. As I explain to them, it's like an engine mount in your car. It's why you don't feel the vibration from your engine in your car. The whole thing is floating on rubber.
But then again,
it's like
the exhaust pipe of your engine is actually hard fixed to the underneath of your car.
Shouldn't be.
No, it's not. There's a rubberized.
Oh, that's right. They are. Yeah,
exhaust
that's
hanger.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally,
it's hard fixed to your engine.
Yeah,
But
right.
your engine's also on shock mounts.
Yeah.
Literally everything from the engine to the tip of your exhaust is mounted on rubber.
Okay, I'll take that
Unless you're
back.
in like a customized race car
Yes.
or some poorly built vehicle from Russia or something.
Yeah.
Or your motor mount's crushed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that happens, or just doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore, which I've done.
Right.
So this is all that concept. But so when I squeeze the rubber between the two metal, it's like two metal plates with a sandwich in the middle with like a 1/2 inch of rubber. It's very, very smushy and soft. Very soft.
Uh-huh.
But you see, the one thing missing though, George, this is
Yeah.
my thing with the Rycote, is even though your microphone's isolated, the mic cable isn't.
Yeah.
No, that design of holding the mic cable hard against the mic stand, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And really, like, it should be
Yeah.
put on every mic clip. You know how you have the mic stand that has like the little clip that goes on the side to hold your mic cable along the side of it? Every mic clip should have that, but a firmer one that actually grabs that cable and holds it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then also you don't get things like, oh, I'm going to pull on my mic cable and now my mic changed position.
Yeah. When I see someone with their mic cable pulled so tight that the mic is on an angle, I'm like, no.
I was going to say something I would take from Apple is the whole MagSafe charger. And I think that XLRs on mics should just be, because when would you ever want someone to trip over to a mic stand and not like,
a magnet pogo pin style microphone plug? That's an interesting idea.
in a room with a crap load of mic stands and cables everywhere, and the wrong person trips on one thing, and then you get a mic stand. Timber.
It has to be a stronger magnet than what they use on MagSafe. That thing comes off too easy. But yeah, no, it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, you could retrofit that very easily. Just have it in line
Yes,
like a
exactly. You
little
can just make
breakaway.
an XLR barrel. There you go, everybody. Here's a
breakaway
product for
XLR
you.
barrel.
Yep.
All right, somebody go make it and just
Yeah.
send us our check.
Exactly.
Robert,
and also
Robert.
use...
We already patented it. We will be trolling.
Yes, watch out. We're watching you.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite, with thanks to TriBooth and Austrian Audio, recorded using Source Connect, edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Voodoo Radio Imaging with tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, theproaudiosuite.com.